What's going on, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about what I think is the most important attribute for you to develop if you want gains in fitness, in life, in strength, in whatever it is you're doing. And I think it's an extremely difficult attribute for a lot of people to get a hold of because it involves admitting to yourself that you could be wrong. And the attribute is humility. Now, when I talk about humility, or when people mention humility in general, one of the mistakes that people make is that they think it involves bowing down to another person. It involves, prostrating yourself in some sort of way. But the reality is this: humility is an attribute that contributes to one's strength. And it contributes to one's strength because it involves helping you to work on your weaknesses. Unless you're able to admit to your weaknesses, unless you're able to admit to what you don't know, unless you're able to admit to that which you are not capable of, then you're never going to be able to become strong, because you'll never work on your weaknesses. You'll never work on those things that are holding you back, right? And a lot of times we as human beings, we don't like to think that we have a weakness. We don't like to think that we have an Achilles heel. We don't like to think that we have something that is a fundamental flaw in ourselves that's holding us back. What we like to do is we like to blame the world. We like to say, oh man, all this bad stuff just happens to me. Why can't I get a break? Why can't I get lucky every now and then? And that mindset is such a damaging mindset to have, because it keeps you from seeing the very things that you need to work on, the very things that you could change, that the very things that you could have control over. Keeps you from seeing those things, and it keeps you from ever moving forward. It keeps you right in the same spot. And it's simply because you don't want to take that uncomfortable step in admitting to yourself that you could be wrong. Now, I say this to you as somebody who has made this mistake over and over again in my life. And I think back to some of the things I have been extremely pig-headed on. And those were always the things that had held me back. I'm a trained academic, right? And in political science. And so being somebody with a lot of education, a lot of times I would doubt what the other person was trying to tell me. I would doubt what that person was trying to say. I would doubt their academic attributes. And I think that when I did this, in a lot of ways, especially when I got into business, is something that has humbled me greatly, right? It has humbled me immensely. People back in the day were saying, hey, get yourself on social media. Back when I was managing Metroflex Gym, get yourself on social media, do it now. And I was like, I don't want to do that Instagram thing, that YouTube thing. I'm not trying to be a superstar here. I'm just trying to run my business. But that was me not admitting that times were changing, not admitting that, that these old ways of advertising that were in my mind the way to go were becoming stale. And so I got humbled. I got humbled greatly. In fitness, over and over again, my kind of resistance to hearing new information kind of shot me in the foot. Back in the day, people were telling me, you keep trying to do that bodybuilding diet, your digestive issues were going to get worse. But pig-headedly, I kept doing that same old bodybuilding diet. And what do you know? My ulcerative colitis systems had gotten worse. And it wasn't until I was able to incorporate a lot of the new information that was coming my way, as far as intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet, that I was able to push myself forward. And for all of you out there, the biggest mistakes I see with my clients is that when they get presented with new information that conflicts with their long-held beliefs, a lot of times they don't want to admit they were wrong. And it's not until they grudgingly try the new thing that's being proposed to them that they start to advance. So, bottom line is this, guys. Understand that we all have a fundamental flaw in our brains as human beings. And that is that we don't like to accept new information that conflicts with these long-held beliefs. But a lot of times, those long-held beliefs that you have are the very things that are keeping you from moving forward. They're the very things that are keeping you from getting to where you want to go. So, with all things, keep an open mind, keep an experimental mindset, and do your best to be as objective as possible when new information comes your way. I want to thank you for listening to me today, and a couple of things I just want to give to you guys. Number one, we have started the Warrior Soul Fitness Academy through the Warrior Soul Agoge, and what this is a community of people who are trying to push each other to become their absolute best. It's focused on U.S. military veterans, but anybody can join. And if you're interested in getting some of my best information about fitness and nutrition, in getting your questions answered by me on our weekly question and answer sessions, and in getting access to me and my team for all questions that you might have, along with being connected with a community of people who are motivated to move forward, you can head over to www.warriorsoulagoge, that's AGOGE.com, and we'll be happy to have you. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll talk to you all soon.